Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Indiana singer-songwriter Brian Koenig with our national anthem tonight. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, all of you, for joining us at Indianapolis Raceway Park tonight for Thursday Night Thunder with the Browns Oil Service Championship Midgets. Pat, it's heat race time.
Thank you very much, Christy. Welcome, everybody, to America's Great Race Place. 8-lap heat races, 35 for the feature. So again, we've got our 8 fastest. They're also, you know, we got a bit of a owner's manual here. They'll also be the top 8 in the feature event. In a nutshell. But it lines up this way, straight up, as you can see. On the pole, the 47, that's Cody Swanson. He'll be joined by the 98 of Bobby Santos III. Jake Trader in the 29 will be joined by the 51 of Chuck Gurney Jr., with Nathan Bird in the 40X alongside. Todd Bertrand in the 44 will be on the outside of the third row. Then we look at Kyle O'Gara, the 67 machine. He'll be joined by the 01, the New Hampshire driver, Chase Locke. Again, 8 laps the distance here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, America's Great Race Place. Now again, after our 2 heat races, we're going to see some vintage cars on display. Remember that your ticket stub gives you an opportunity to get a weekend pass for $8. We'll have Bill Throckmorton over here to talk about this just incredible equipment spanning literally the age of championship racing are going to be here, at least 55 this weekend. And we're going to see some of them after our heat races. That'll be a lot of fun. Bill's done a lot of great work. He's turned the Grant King shop into a bit of a mini museum. He's had several events, him and Stephanie. And Stephanie and Bill both took their time in sprint cars. Have really been a big supporter to several events throughout the area, which reminds me, particularly those of you in the area, 17th of July, Wednesday night in the United States Auto Club office in Speedway, will be the USAC Midsummer Ice Cream Social that's absolutely free. We want children to come in, get some ice cream. We're going to have some coloring contests. We're going to have some cornhole games. We may have a quarter midget on display. We've got a whole bunch of things to give away. We've got a couple of scooters. The fine folks from Badger also came and did us a big favor and allowed us to have some things to raffle off. I understand the first heat pushes in 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes. So anyway, that's going to be on July 17th in the USAC office. It's an absolutely free event. We absolutely want to get young people involved. We're hoping to have some really good participation from some of our drivers, an opportunity for you all to come out and meet with them, and particularly your children, which is what's really important for us, that they come and have a chance to meet these drivers. It's going to be a lot of fun, absolutely free. in the USAC office. We've had a lot of fine supporters who have come on board. Dwayne and Sonia Alexander, just wonderful people and people that have done so many great things. Shelly Kinzer Clayton and her business have come on to support the ice cream event. Camille Keys from a race fan from Florida sent some money. We've had a variety of people who have stepped up and have really just tried to make this thing a big success. And we'd really appreciate if you brought the young folks and came out and joined us again. That is on the 17th. Those scooters we talked about, you know, that's from the Addison Dalkey Kids Club up in the Badger Midget ranks. Just shows you how much they've sort of joined in and tried to help out. So if you could think about at least coming, we'd appreciate that. Race Aid is the benevolent arm of the United States Auto Club. Does a lot to help injured drivers, crews, and other people in need. We're probably in about 2 minutes now to get to the line. So again, it's going to be Santos and Cody Swanson on the front row. There you go. Jake Trader, Chuck Gurney Jr., Nathan Bird, Todd Bertrand, Kyle O'Gara, and Chase Locke. So race officials trying to hustle cars into their position. Glad you've joined us here. I think Cody Swanson just got his helmet handed to him. Now, no one has won more Silver Crown races than Cody, as you well know, and he's almost getting into position. Very close that he is doubling up on Jack Hewitt, his second in line at 23. Cody is also the last guy to strap in his Silver Crown car for every race. He's fastidious. Looks like Kyle O'Gara's getting ready to run that big red Lickers 67 car. Mentioned Kyle, the winner of the Dave Steele event down at Showtime Speedway in Florida this year. Dave Steele won that $62,500 Mopar Twin 25s electric, driving for owner Dino Tomasi. It was a magical night for a guy who also won the night before the 500. May have been his first USAC midget win. Came in the night before the 500, which was the night of the 500, as it turned out. Given a postponement and delay. Kyle's on his way up. Kyle's ready to go racing. There goes Cody. Here comes Chuck Gurney Jr. Now we're starting to roll. Again, if you have a chance to come to this racetrack at some point and get up close to some of these midgets now, the sheen on them, they're just beautiful pieces of equipment. I don't know how adequately that translates for those of you watching on Flow, but they're spectacular. Cody Swanson's car, which was a Jerome Rodella creation, stopped Chet Christner in his tracks last year. I mean, he turned on a dime to take a look at that piece. We'll be back here on August 15th with the National Midgets. They'll be part of the championship event at the end of the year as well. Tailgating, speeding, and darting between lanes, that'll get you noticed and ticketed by police. Drive sober, buckle up, slow down. We want you to arrive alive. This message brought to you by the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. The great Jeff Brabham, who did so many things in his racing career, probably had more notoriety for his days in the IMSA prototype cars when he was driving for Nissan and had some dominant runs, was once asked about a race at the end of the day, and he said, well, from a driver's perspective, it was like most races. It was 90% boring and 10% pure terror. Midget races and midget racing on this racetrack, for me, has always been a one-eye closed proposition. It's both thrilling, but they dart around here so quickly, it puts you a little bit on the edge of your seat. All righty, starting to get some, got a couple more to push off. Jake Trader's an interesting guy. I mean, right after he won the midget race here last year, which was not expected, to say the least. And then, in like his second ever sprint car race, won the Little 500. You know, suddenly people took notice. I did a story on him, and I thought for sure I'd hear these grandiose plans about what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go. And largely what I heard is a young guy who likes where he lives, likes where he works, and likes racing at the level he does, and isn't much worried beyond that, which is, in so many ways, a very healthy attitude. All right, looks like we got him. Be interesting for me to ask or to ponder. Now again, these are your 8 fastest cars, and again, $1,000 to win a heat race. Be interesting whether or not Cody, if he had a preference, would have chose the inside or out. I think he'd like to be right where he's at, but it's interesting to ponder. Now, the cat and mouse game between Bobby and Cody starts right now. These two have raced together and almost directly together for so long that you have the sense that Bobby and Cody know what each other ate for breakfast. But Chuck Gurney Jr., watch him. He's been fast here. And we've already documented what Trainer has done. So this is interesting. When you put the 8 fastest in one heat, it's a very old style, for example, you used to see in the old AAA, you'd have the fast heat, and then there'd be multiple heats, different numbers of cars in those days to finally dwindle down to your feature field. But in the old days, this would be called the fast heat. Tom Hansing, he's flagged some of the biggest races in America. And many of them right here as he looks down towards turn number 4. We'll see if he's comfortable, and we are green. Look at Trainer taking a peek down low. Santos trying to work along the outside. Drag race down the back straightaway. Oh, this is good. Santos drives real hard into turn number 4. Good battle for third. Trainer dancing around in that 4th position, trying to make things happen. Cody closing up a little. Keep an eye on Cody. Chuck Gurney Jr. running 3rd. Trainer a bit anxious to take that spot over. The Birdman running 5th. Cody closes a bit there in turn number 3. Drops down a little bit on the racetrack on entry. And this time by, he's closed the gap a bit. 0.23 the gap between 1 and 2, and they've separated themselves from the pack. Be a couple to go at the line. $1,000 is $1,000. Maybe not the same as bragging rights. But what would it mean? Does Cody want to push the issue? One would doubt it, and one now looks and says, it's a non-issue because Bobby stretched it out. So Bobby Santos takes it, Cody Swanson, Chuck Gurney Jr., Jake Trainer, and Nathan Bird round out your top 5. Well, this will be fun. Christy Bimbis is in position. And she'll have a word with your winner. There's that pretty car. Here goes Christy.
So Bobby Santos III going to pick up heat race win number 1. Got off to a pretty good start there, side by side with Cody Swanson as they went into laps number 1 and 2, and then got that really good run on the backstretch to get away from the 47 and really create yourself some space. Bobby, how long does it take to kind of build up that run and make sure you have enough speed to pull that off?
Yeah, usually the outside on the starts here are definitely an advantage. So that was good for us. I felt like we made a couple good adjustments between qualifying and the heat. Just looking forward to the important part tonight.
Some extra money there for Bobby Santos, your winner of heat race number 1 tonight with the Browns Oil Service Championships.
Thank you very much, Christy. All righty, we'll get Bobby back in the pit area. We'll line up heat race number 2. Looks this way. On the pole, the 57 machine for Abacus Racing. Had C.J. Leary, and alongside the 7K machine, that is Nick Hamilton. Brenham Crouch is in the 1C machine from Lubbock, Texas. He'll be joined by Illinois' Mario Klauser in car 99. Blake Brandon's in car number 40. He'll be in the inside of the third row with 14, Brandon Maurer alongside. And bring up the rear, and again, he had some contact in his qualifying effort. Let's hope he's got that all squared away. That's Ryan Shulkuski in the 48 machine. Leary, Hamilton, Crouch, Klauser, Brandon, Maurer, and Shulkuski. Let's send it down to Drake York.
Thank you so much, Pat. As we get ready to go for the second and final heat race tonight here for Thursday Night Thunder, went back in the pits and talked to Ryan Shulkuski. Of course, he suffered that crash during qualifying, and it bent the front axle along with the Panhard bar and a little bit of the right front shock. It's kind of like the old Alex Bowman racing meme. It's bent, but okay. But Ryan told me that car really just stepped out on him on turn number 1. Nothing really happened except the car stepped out and nothing broke. So a bit of a strange case there for Ryan. So he's going to go from shotgun on the field here in this second and final heat race. And if I'm not mistaken, they got loaned a front end from Four Stooges Racing to make it out for this heat race. So we'll see what Ryan can do.
Oh, that's really great. Appreciate that indeed. Well, it certainly did. But the thing that made you believe that there was a mechanical was how sort of quickly and abruptly it took that turn to the right. So, I suspect at this point, this is going to be a let's sort of feel it out moment for Ryan and see how things go from there. So again, remind you that we're going to do this heat race, and these drivers will line up in the feature as well. There's Nick Hamilton going by in the 7 machine. Brother had some good success here. And again, opportunity for C.J. Leary to again jump in the Abacus Racing. Logan was in a wedding. He's been out of the country. I think he's back now. He will be at Macon for the next USAC scheduled event. But C.J. Leary hopping in the Brent Cox Abacus Racing entry. Texas Roadhouse, Williams Creek Management, MPV Express, Indy Custom Stone, and CPAs on his car. Brenham Crouch, and Seymour Performance Parts, Carbon Safety, IPC, Indiana Performance Composites, Indy Metal Finishing, Nitro Alley Graphics, High Plains Building Division sponsor his car. Blake Brandon, Morgan's Hill, California drivers, Western Speed, TRD, Brandon Corporation Advanced Racing Shocks. Support his effort. Tom is looking him over. I said nothing like Sergeant Schultz because I was convinced it was coming back. And then I got nervous. But it is. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to fly. I'm not pointing a finger at anyone in particular. It just wasn't a good start. And at all racetracks, particularly here, you can give them some time to sort themselves out, use the receiver, and then tell them it's coming back and admonish the offender that punishment sentences await if you do it again. Beautiful night, particularly given how sweltering it has been. All right, let's see if this one's better. It is a beehive of activity, that's for sure. Brenham Crouch got a little antsy, but I think he's probably okay. Nick's taking a look down to the inside. Hamilton, he's on the high side, hoping not to get freight trained on the top. And C.J. Leary, making the most of his opportunity with Abacus Racing, has stretched out a bit as he comes off of turn number 2. That's where you see so many different lines employed. Now, Cody Swanson made a high side pass in a Pro Mazda race here a couple years ago. They got everyone out of their seats. And you can make the high side pass in 4, but particularly if there's some marbles up there, it's high stakes poker. Nick Hamilton doing a good job. Brenham Crouch running the third spot. A little bit of battle there for 4th and 5th. Nick's hanging with CJ. Look at Nick Hamilton closing, coming out of 4. And Crouch is trying to get a toe and get up there. Blake Brannon is right now running in the 4th position. Nick Hamilton is starting to dog CJ Leary. Now again, here's the preferred passing point. Right there at that spot. Was he close enough to get it done? Hold your breath. Now, how can he reload into 1? Dips close to the yellow line, does Nick Hamilton. Can he power off a 2? Drag race down the back straightaway. C.J. Leary is not about to go down without a fight. They're side by side coming out of 4. It's white knuckle time. .028 that time. Brendan Crouch has got the best seat in the house for this one. And he says, you know what? I might be able to join this. And here comes the Texan. White flag is out. He may run out of time. Let's see what Nick wants to do. Bragging rights and $1,000. That makes a strong move in turn 3 worth it if you're Nick Hamilton. Here he comes, he's got to run. CJ goes down just a bit. Nothing wrong with that. Here comes Crouch. Who's it gonna be? My, oh my. Leary, difference, 0-1-6. Wow. CJ was absolutely smoking that right rear, taking the checkered flag, which he barely did. And that'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see what he has to share with Drake York.
That is what pavement midget racing's all about. How about it, race fans, for C.J. Leary, your winner of heat race number 2, and he had to earn that. Here in May was his first time aboard a pavement midget. He ran 4th, looking for an even better result tonight. Of course, Leary now driving the Abacus Racing 57 while Logan Seavey is out of town. And he had to earn that one. CJ, you're literally smoking the right rear off at turn number 4, trying to hold off Nick Hamilton. How are you able to keep him behind him?
We've been working really hard today, trying to get this thing tightened up. Honestly, we've just been free all day, and kind of hate that I got into the front stretch wall there, getting into one late with having to stick with the same right rear all night. Hopefully we didn't hurt it. We definitely made gains on it, definitely better. Still looking for some more speed. Thanks to Nick there for racing me clean. That was a lot of fun.
CJ Leary collects $1,000 for his win here in heat race number 2, Pat.
And the key statement there, and it can't be said enough, thank you, Nick Hamilton, for racing me clean. That was a clean race between 2 race drivers. They gave each other. I mentioned that CJ, tried to put a little pressure on him coming out of 3 and 4. That's a good racing move. There's nothing wrong with that. They got right down to the wire. Now, I don't know if some of these vintage Indy cars we're going to have out here are going to go wheel to wheel. Those are sort of valuable pieces of equipment, Billy, but what do you think?
Well, we've got some really neat cars out here tonight. We're going to have a 1953 Curtis 500A with a Hemi engine. We're going to have a 1960 Watson copy built by Fat Boy Ewing.
Wayne Fat Boy Ewing, one of the great metallurgists of all time.
Yes, and this car only ran the 1960 500. It tried 4 other times. It was driven by some pretty famous race drivers over the years. But I believe, trying to remember, I want to say Al Martin possibly was the driver that ran it in 60 and actually made the show.
Those guys would just take, you talked about Wayne Fat Boy, those guys would take that sheet metal and they'd put those sandbags and use a hammer and a mallet to form that, and that was a real art.
Yeah, you had Watson, Kuzma,
right.
Some true fabricators.
Right. There's a lot of fabricators in racing.
Yes.
But that's a different kind of fabricator.
Right, exactly, yes. This weekend with all the tents here, we're going to have an Indy Legends weekend. As of right now, we're right at 55 Indy cars registered, and they're Indy cars from the early 1900s to more current cars. So we've got pre-war, we have roadsters, and then we're going to have, Dallara, G-Forces. We're going to have a lot of your 70s and 80s mechanics and drivers walking around. So it should be a fun-filled weekend. That's what all the tents and different things are for in the infield. We'll start up Saturday and run Sunday.
It's really fun. I have had a chance to see several of these kinds of events. And what gets really funny sometimes when you get race drivers out on the racetrack in these cars,